Does anybody know what a Dickfer is? So, I'm developing this theory. And the theory goes like this. In my entire life, which is 40 some plus years, I'm not going to give you the exact number for you people using the Google trying to locate me. In 40 plus years, I have seen the following situation maybe 10 to 12 times. And the situation is a car that I hear coming down the road. And the reason I hear it is because the tire has gone flat, come off of the rim, and the rim is now scraping the pavement, the asphalt, but the driver is continuing to drive. And I've encountered a couple of them and said, hey, where are you going? Stop, tried to slow them down because they're going slow anyway. And they always respond, to the nearest gas station, how far is it? And here's the thing. They're usually women. Well, 12 times, they've always been women. Always. Now, don't tune out on me yet, ladies. Until about 5 years ago. At about 5 years ago, something changed. And it probably changed before that to get to this point because they'd be 16 plus. Although these men, if I could use that term loosely, were maybe 20, 22. I've seen it now twice with men very recently. To which, there are gender roles, there's gender bias, and I have some empathy for women who may not know what they're doing, although I don't know how you can't feel the vibration and not know you're doing more damage, because a tire's a lot easier to replace than a rim or a suspension or an axle or the whole quarter panel that you're grinding off. But now I'm seeing men do this, which I think is a smaller symptom of a bigger issue. And I'm solidifying an opinion, and I'm pretty much going to stop thinking about it after this real soon. And it's not because I'm closed-minded. People often confuse, well, you're unmovable on your opinion, you're closed-minded. No, I've reached a conclusion. I've probably thought about whatever I've reached a conclusion on for hours more than most people, because it's what I do. It's my curse. And I've reached a conclusion. And my conclusion is this. Everything that was held dear and valued from being a man was ascribed to gender roles. You're the provider. You're tough. You gotta go to work. You face the elements. You get out there and you make that money to provide for your family. And men are good in that role. But a couple things have happened. Women have been told to get out there and do all the same stuff, and have children while you're doing it, and if you can't juggle all those balls in the air, you're unsuccessful. Which is a lie, by the way. It's a lie. Here, let me say it this way. It's a lie. The second thing is, if you don't do it, you're going to be judged by society as not being successful. And if you do try to do it, you're going to be miserable. Ladies, look around. Everybody's miserable that is in this boat. And it's mostly everybody. Now, there are a lot of people that watch this channel that aren't, but you know what I mean. Let's get back to the men. So the men, all the stuff that was their job, was their role, they're not expected to do anymore necessarily. And they go, wait a minute, I'm not able to get this anymore, meaning a wife and a family, because my role isn't valued because women are now doing my role. Well, then I'm going to stop fulfilling my role. And this is beyond fatherless families and nuclear families. That happened long ago. We're beyond that. This is men, consciously or unconsciously. You mean I can go to work hard, and I'm still not going to get rewarded the way other people did? Or I can lay around, smoke weed, and play video games all day and make myself happy. That's option A. Or option B is, and this is what I think is happening to a larger extent, option B is I'm going to stop trying to hone and build those masculine traits: leadership, aggressiveness, team leading, getting out, working hard, getting up early, facing the elements. And I'm going to adopt more traditional female gender roles because I'm not rewarded for the traditional male gender roles. And in fact, when they do rear their ugly head, I'm judged, ostracized, sidelined, marginalized for it, called a racist, called a sexist pig, on and on and on and on. So now you've got a group of men who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, don't know how to check their own oil in their car, as witnessed by me, and I've not seen this in 40 plus years previous to this, don't have enough sense to pull over on the side of the road when the tire is flat and just keep driving for miles sometimes. Again, I've never seen that, never heard of that in my life from a man. Seen plenty of women and heard plenty of women doing it. And it's just falling apart. And then I saw a news article the other day that said women are lamenting the fact that they're getting to 30 and 35, and that there are no men around that are making the money that equals the money the women are making to be good husbands, providers, etc., etc. Well, you've trained all the men through the women's lib movement that is probably the worst thing ever happened to you. By getting your freedom, you essentially enslaved yourselves. Figure that one out. You've essentially trained the men not to do everything that you want them around to do at 35. So I went out the other night for some drinks with people at work, and I literally saw a guy who, by all intents and purposes, appeared to be heterosexual, wearing skinny jeans, overweight, and by skinny I mean skin tight, overweight, hair in a bun, staring at his phone the whole night. And I just looked at him and I thought, man, is this what we've become? Coupled with another story I saw that the actual hand strength shape of people now versus the 70s has decreased by 35% for men because they're not doing the typical jobs or the manual labor they used to do. They're not doing summer jobs, and they're not working rurally on farms or with heavy equipment. Have you been to Russia? Have you been to some of these let me tell you, the people are smaller, and they're gritty, and they're tough. I hope our drones work, because we are going to be ripe for the picking in another 20 to 30 years. Anyway, I don't have a comedic end for this. I think the comedic end is basically our country is dying, and long before we have to blame immigration or Trump or the Democrats or somebody eroding gun rights, there's only going to be a few farm boys in the rural counties that are actually able to lift a bale of hay, because everybody else from Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 has been moved into the cities and emasculated, either consciously or subconsciously, through their environment and social pressures. Ladies, it's going to be rough. I hope they work out the cloning real quick for you to have families, because there's slim pickings out there. And God help you if you come in a dark alley and you get jumped, because he's probably going to turn and run if he doesn't cower in fear. That's it. Light rant. Have a good evening.